Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show the art of chasing walls.
My name is Leon from Rigel Electrical and I've been an electrician for over 25 years. Wall chasing is notorious in the trade for being an undesirable job, and I often agree. In this video I will show and rate the most common methods of chasing. Then I will be revealing my favourite. Representing the plasterboard stud wall method, we have the multi-tool. Going on to the masonry walls, we have the traditional hammer and chisel method. Then a strong on-site contender, the angle grinder. Finally, we have the latest revolutionary method, but is it really revolutionary?
So guys, this is one of my all-time favorites. This is the multi-tool, and arguably this is one of electricians' best tools ever. This will get you out of many tight spots. In particular on this job, it's going to be really good for cutting in some sockets on plasterboard walls. It's got many more uses than that, but today I'm going to show you how to chase out a socket with it. When you're installing cables and you're thinking about your methods you're going to use, make sure you check what the wall type is first. Something as simple as given that your wall tap, you can hear that's very hollow. Very good indication that that's plasterboard on some kind of wood timber framing, or there could be a masonry wall in between with a dot and dab board on top of it. There's a couple of different things, but I definitely know that is a hollow plasterboard wall. You can see here on a masonry wall the sound difference. It's science. It's all the stuff they taught you in school.
Yes, science! Okay.
This is one of my new friends at the moment. I love this. I've always just drawn around a metal box and put a spirit level on the top, and I didn't see much use for this. I thought, it's a bit gimmicky, don't really need this. But I tell you what, this is really handy. It fits nicely in the side pocket like this, and it's just very quick. Boom, go around to each socket, score a line around it, nice and easy. 400mm to bottom of box, as requested by the customer. This is not a new build property, so we can put sockets at the chosen height preferred by the customer. Whoa, two options here, two options. Do I put my socket dead central to this area here, or do I put my socket in line with the switch above so that the right hand side of the switch is in line with the right hand side of the socket? Just standing back to make sure I don't make an awful decision on this. This is showing a lot about my character. I can't make a decision. Right, I'm gonna make it right hand side there and this right hand side here align nicely with the edge of the door frame. Decision made.
If you're enjoying this content, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe. It's free and it helps me make more videos like this and get them to more people like you. Also, there's links in the description to all the kit I'm using in this video today.
Before I go cutting this socket out, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just do a little bit of a pilot hole drilling session here. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to check to see what I've got in the wall behind it. My box that's going to go in here is going to be between 25 to 35mm deep. I want to know what kind of support and how this wall's structured. Do I have a masonry wall in here that's been dot and dabbed on top, or do I have a timber wall in here that I can then cut a box in and find where the edge of the timber is? Is there a timber smack bang in the middle of here? We're going to find out because I'm going to spot drill. Here we go. Got some nice depth there, great. Depth. Yeah. What I like to do as well is I like to drill on a bit of an angle through as well. So I want to know how close, there's going to be a timber running down here. I want to know how close it is. So instead of sending my drill in straight, I put it in on an angle. So as I push it in, I can feel, there we go, see that? I've hit a timber there. So I put my finger on the drill bit here, like this. And as I put it out, I can just move across. I can see the timber is roughly around about there. That is helping me decide on whether I want to put a metal box in here and fix it to a nearby timber, or if I want to put in a fast fix box in here because the timbers are far away. How do I look? Sexy. Yeah. So anybody that doesn't know what a multi-tool is, it's the most fantastic piece of equipment for electricians. What it does, it's got these fine blades on the top. These blades move backwards and forwards at a very high speed. It feels just like a vibration, but they're actually going back very fast, creating a cutting motion, which is brilliant because this stays still in your hand while this does all the cutting for you. Henry! Anyone that's not an electrician will get comments. Electricians with Hoovers, don't make me laugh.
You ready, Henry? It's me and you, my friend.
The multi-tool is a fantastic tool that has so many different possible applications. For its particular use on this plasterboard wall today, it's been quick and easy. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. The only possible improvements I can see is dust extraction being added in future.
Oh, look at that, nice and snug. Oh damn, look at that, that's beautiful. There isn't any timber nearby, so I don't have any access to the other side of this wall to be able to put a timber in. So what I'm going to do on this occasion is I am going to put a plasterboard box into this wall. Our cables are already above, they've been routed through the floor and they're already up above ground. So what I can now do is simply feed them straight up the wall. Put a bit of a curve in them. Let's pull them up one by one. So guys, this is a stud wall. It is a plasterboard wall. It's got a timber structure to it with plasterboard sandwiched on either side. You could arguably say that this isn't chasing. Don't worry, we are going to get onto the chasing, the real chasing in just a moment. But I wanted to show you this method because this is a really nice way to get cables up through a wall, which is a studded wall rather than having a masonry wall. The nice thing about this is that we can bring the cables through the middle of it because of the way the wall's constructed. On a masonry wall, you don't get that luxury. Do you know, whichever way you do this, it's quite the faff. It is the faff. So as you can see, I'm surrounded by a lot of stuff. And this is where the electrician's nightmare begins. Because obviously we're working in residential premises. Sometimes we get lucky, sometimes they're empty, sometimes they're absolutely full to the hills, just like this property is. Not a problem for us because this is exactly what we're trained for and what we do, but it does make it very difficult sometimes. Clear the space, clear the space. Any level of success always comes with the prep. I'm probably going to get some stick for the state of my dust sheets. These have had some good use. There's a lot of history with these dust sheets. We've been for a lot of times. So this old traditional method, hammer and bolster, it's one of the old school favorites. I personally don't use it anymore, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to show you on this socket how we do it. Gotta get that bubble nice and straight. Have you seen that video? The one, the Michael Jackson one? Where he talks about Master Billy. There ain't no bubbles.
This is what I mean by bubbles in my stabilization mode.
I've got my hammer drill set up ready. This is an external masonry wall, so there's 2 layers of bricks here. So I'm going to be doing some stitch drilling around here to basically drill into the brick to form the lines that I want my hammer and bolster to adhere to, which you'll see in just a moment. And then we just take out a nice slice down here. Something to note about where you're going to position your boxes is that if you're going to put it on one of these masonry walls, if there's like mold or anything growing on the walls, that's a bit of an indicator there might be a bit of a damp issue going on with the external wall. If you've got the option to be able to move it to one of the other walls, say for example this one, and it's an internal wall, then you're not going to get those issues with any potential damp or anything, because what can happen is you sink a metal box in here and it could end up rotting out.
Are you ready? Let's go.
This method serves us well as electricians. It's not the fastest, it can be messy, but it still has its place. In tight spaces with little room, it can be your only option sometimes. I've always loved the sense of artistry when chasing like this, as I am literally sculpting the wall to install the sockets. I give this method a 6 out of 10. It certainly still has its place in the industry.
So you're probably wondering why I've spot drilled the holes around the socket box but not for the chase where the cables are going. And that's simply because there's bonding and plaster here, and I've taken away the bonding and plaster here at the moment, and this box is not going to be deep enough. So I need to go deeper, hence the reason why I've spot drilled so that I can chisel deeper this section. Whereas these cables, they only need to go back to the block. There's plenty enough depth there for me to get these cables in nice and easy. You'll notice I'm tapping quite lightly. Been very fortunate on this wall that it's an extremely soft wall, so I'm getting away with it lightly. Some jobs, if you're in an old cottage or something like that and you've got an old stone wall, your methods, you will be not having fun using the traditional method. To any newbies in the trade, if you think things are tough now, you imagine what it used to be like back in the day 50 years ago. But I hope you can see from this method, guys, there's a lot of manual fine-tuning going on here. I mean, every method's manual, but some more than others. To be fair, I want this to be bang on right. And there's a lot of people that just throw their boxes in. We don't do things quite like that. We want it, we're professionals. We are professionals. We want it nice, don't we? That's what we want. There it is. Imagine doing a whole house like this. Imagine doing floor-to-ceiling chases, which I've done over the last couple of decades like that. So this isn't like I've never done this and I'm giving it a go. This has always been my method. until more recent days. I've got two drills here. They've both got the same drill bit in the end. The difference being is that this one's got a really heavy hammer on it, so it's perfect for doing that stitch drilling that I needed at the beginning. However, this one is for my fine tuning now. I need this. It's got a very nice refined hammer action on it, and that's really important because I'm going to use this to drill the holes to put my wall plugs in, to then put the screws in to secure it back. I don't want to go smashing the wall to pieces and then not be able to get a good fix in with the screws. Really important here, make sure you level up your box, but you don't want to measure up from corner to corner of the top or bottom of the box. You want to go where the actual eyelet holes are, where your faceplate screws are going to screw into. That is because if the box twists in the wall a little bit, those holes could be a little bit higher or lower, even though the box seems like it's straight. Because if you don't get that right and this wall gets skimmed up and you fit a faceplate on there, the faceplate can end up being on slightly on a bit of an angle, so always check that. There's various different methods you can use to get this cap in back. We want to get that secured so it's nicely there. It's pretty firmly in there, but what I'm going to do, nice and easy, just send in a couple of 2-inch screws here, and I'm not going to drill and plug them. I'm simply going to start spinning them between the bricks going into the mortar. Obviously you would never secure a socket box this way. It's only because it's just holding the capping just so it can get plastered into the wall. Make sure it's nice and flat on the wall the way across, and make sure your box is also in alignment with it as well. That way you know it's not protruding in any way, so once it gets skimmed in and it's a nice finished wall, you've got a nice flush box. And you do the same with the capping as well. See there? You've got a nice gap down the back of there, so you know that that capping is not sitting close to the surface. If you leave your cables nice and long like this, beautiful for electricians, plasterers will hate you. They can cut these cables off. You might have markings on the end if it's a switch or something like that. Or I've even seen it where they've cut them off like this and left pretty much nothing on the cables. So best thing to do in this situation is when you know it's all in position, get your cables cut and get them rolled up into the box. Nice and neat. Now guess what? You've got a very happy plasterer on your hands that's going to go above and beyond for you, because he can see that you looked after him when it came for his time to get his trowel in there to go across. He can do his job nice and easy. Everyone's happy. So this method is probably the messiest out of them all. It's not my preferred method and I try and avoid it at all costs, but it does have its place in the industry. So the blade we got on here is a masonry blade. This is perfect for what we need. Make sure you've got your guard attached. And the most important thing with this, especially in a domestic setting, is that we've got the Henry Hoover. What we got going on here, we're going to be chasing out a socket here with a 35mm depth back box. And we're going to be putting in a 35mm deep metal box for a 2-gang light switch. The cables are coming from the floor to get to the socket here. They're coming from the floor to do our 2 ways for the lighting circuit in this hallway. We've also got to get cable from this light switch position here up to feed the light here. So hence the reason why this chase goes floor to ceiling.
Are you ready, Henry? Is it me and you, boy? Let's go.
Angle grinders are a fantastic piece of kit with so many different uses. However, I tried to stay clear of this method due to being messy and having an open spinning blade. It certainly has its place on some sites, which we can talk about in another video, but for this particular application I gave it a 4 to 10. It will certainly do the job, but with other methods being available, I'd rather choose a different option.
As you can see, using this method, it does create a bit of dust. I managed to catch a majority of it with the Hoover, but I wouldn't recommend this because, as you can see, at times when that Hoover wasn't quite in place, a lot of dust came out. Can you imagine if the Hoover wasn't there? So just to highlight a point here, I did that just for demonstration purposes. I don't recommend this method. It's not safe enough because I'm holding the device with one hand. I'm also holding a Hoover, my attention split. I wanted to just show you what's involved with it and how it can be done if you're on site. There is various different types of dust extraction and things like that you can get with various tools. But yeah, this is a method that's been used time and time again, but I don't recommend it. Another one of electricians' best friends is this hammer drill, which I've been using. So you can use this for doing your spot drills like I have been, and you can also use it for having the bolster in like this. This is an SDS version, and basically it's got a lovely little hammer to it, as you can see, like that, for taking out the wall like so. So you can mix and match this method with other things. So you can spot drill. Say I'd spot drill this, I could use this, or you could use a hammer and bolster, so you can mix and match as you go.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Look at the state of this. Flipping it. Oh my gosh.
Look what it does for these traditional methods, or not so traditional methods. Look what what we've got here, we've got an unusual type of brick being used in this house. I say unusual, it is around, but basically we don't come across it very often, or certainly not where I am in the southwest. And that's this airtight brick. See all these holes and grooves in there? That's basically how the brick is made. You know these bricks you see on site that have got all the holes in? That's basically what this wall's been constructed of. And this is electrician's chasing nightmare. The problem we got here is that I now want to get this box in nice and neat and tidy, and I'm now chasing into something which is part there, and then I'll chase a bit and then I go straight into nothing, and it's just all flaking, it's breaking away, it's an absolute nightmare. Well guys, I gotta say, it's time to abandon this method. It's time to bring out the big guns. You know what, Henry, he's gonna be heartbroken when oh dear, when he sees the mighty Metabo. Ironically, I need to find a socket. I'm smiling because I'm excited, because this is where I get to show you my preferred method of a wall chaser combined with dust extraction. What's really cool about this is that you've got a triple blade system here, so you don't need to cut the wall down the sides and then chase out the middle. This will simply cut and chase all at the same time. So I'm going to set the gauge here to 20 mil. That's more than deep enough to get my chase done, ready for the capping. I've got the depth set. As you can see here, this blade cannot go any deeper than this line here, because this sits tightly against the wall. Don't forget that PPE every time. Look after the lungs, the eyes, the ears, because you only get one set.
I give this product a strong 9 out of 10. The dust extraction is superior. It's neat and it gives the same repeatable results time after time. Yes, it's fairly bulky, but this method is market leading when used in the correct scenario. There is so much I could say about this method, but I will leave that for a future video.
So I need to explain, because that looks horrific. But we must remember that this was part of a rescue mission. This wall was getting smashed to pieces by using our other method. So this came in to rescue it. What's really important here is that our box sits in here nice and flush. So once all this is bonded and plastered back up, you're gonna have a really nice, neat, flush box in there that's going to have some good fixings on it. With the other method that we were using, we were really going to struggle. Because of the type of brick this is with the air bricks, it's going to be really difficult to try and get a fix in, so I've got to use my best of my abilities to try and drill into something that's got a bit of meat behind it. It's more like surgery. Perfect, there we go. And let's not forget that this is a terrible wall to be chasing in on. It's only because of my boy. Things have been okay. There's that iconic sound. That's better. As you can see, I've got the box marked up and I've got my straight line to guide me all the way straight up the wall. So this should be a nice one. So you can see here, the chaser doesn't quite get to the top because of the way it's designed, the way it's shaped. Not a problem, I can just take this last bit out with the chisel function on my drill to get that last bit and the Hoover. Nice and flat. Look at the corners here, they sit in there absolutely perfectly. So when that's bonded and plastered back in, that will be a wonderful, really nice, perfect flushed finish because of the method that we used. So I love this, and I know what you're thinking, but Leon, it hasn't made a nice neat finish around the box. It can't because of the fact it's got the spinning blades on it. It's just the way it is. You can't have it because it's circular blade in there. So you end up with this big area over the sides. But to go against that, you got to remember that this has put a box in perfectly, absolutely textbook, nice and neat and flat. And when the bonding goes in, that's only going to help to hug around this socket point here. So it's only going to create a nicer finish at the end. Yes, it doesn't look so great right now, but once that's bonded and skimmed, it's going to look absolutely spot on. So there we have it. Which method do you prefer? Do you prefer the multi-tool, the spot drill with hammer and bolster, the grinder, or the mighty Metabo? I know which one I prefer. I'll see you in the next video.